Hey, good evening and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and this is the Ghana Agenda for May 29th, 2021. Today, as we promised, we are bringing one of the powerful communicators in our country by name Stephen Atubiga. This guy is actually a presidential material. He has formulated his own party called the National Liberation Congress after resigning from the NDC. And he has some things that he's recommended for the NDC to fix the party so they can come back and be formidable. We know the UP it's not divided, but the NDC seems to have some divisions because of some problems, and we believe that the party leaders should be tolerant and accept dissenting views. But when it came to some of the criticisms that someone like our guest today raises, like Atubiga always put in writing or state on media outlets, it comes as an irritation to the party, and he gets pulled here and there to answer questions, and it has culminated to where he decided to resign from the party. So we are talking to him today. We would ask him what his plans are for the new party that he has formed, the National Liberation Congress, and overall, what are his plans to lead this country should he be lucky enough to ever become the president in one day. So welcome to the show, Mr. Stephen Atubiga.
Yes. Thank you so much.
I'm getting the name wrong, right? It's Atubiga.
Yes. Atubiga. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you to your cherished listeners. Good afternoon to everybody.
Afternoon. I know they are all listening, and people have been eager to join the show. I will start sharing the link. Guys, if you're watching, please share the link. This is going to be a great interview. We are lucky to have him. He was actually in the gym, and he was telling me he has to jump out of the gym to do this interview. So we are blessed to have him. Let's get into the conversation. Mr. Atubiga, tell us about yourself. I know you come from a very deep political background, starting all the way from your grandfather who served in the CPP, all the way to even yourself running a couple of times to Parliament. So tell us a little bit about your political background, your growing up in Binduri. What are some of the experiences that made you who you are?
Thank you so much. I am a poor boy from Binduri. Yeah. My name is. I stayed in Kumasi a little bit, and then I come from a political background. My grandfather was a councilman during Nkrumah's time. My biological father was a member of parliament from 92 to 2000. My father's big brother was also a member of parliament during Liman's regime. So if you come to my house in the village, we have the NDC, we have the CPP, we have the PNC, and then we have the MPP posters in the family house. And as a matter of fact, I'm the first person to have lost election in the family. Now, growing up as a child, I remember in 1989, I think 1987, Rawlings gave a very good speech, and I enjoyed it. Then I yelled at my dad that, oh, I want to also make a coup in Ghana and be like that man. My dad, I didn't have keys in my house that day. I mean, my daddy really didn't let me go. He said, my son, you don't have to do that. You have to go through the same system through the ballot box. Your uncle was an exile under Rawlings when Rawlings took over. So you gotta go through the ballot box. And ever since it's been history. I traveled to the United States. Okay. I stayed there about 17, let's say between 14 and 16 years. I stayed in the United States. And then and when I was there, I was, those days, that was when internet radio had started. Right. Especially in African communities. So we were the frontliners for the NDC over there in the States till I came home. And then I remember when Nanado came in the States around 2000 and around 2008. I remember he wanted me, Boniface and we became friends. They wanted me to come contest for the ticket of the MPP on a post. Boniface, they poached me, but hey, I said Nana was a good guy. We took pictures, friends, but I just couldn't go with MPP because the ideology was different. And then, you know, when I came home, I tried. I lost by 2 votes, and I kept trying. But you know, you gotta have big dreams. If you you follow smaller things, you go after smaller things to give you the experience and the preparation for you to grab bigger things. You don't have to win smaller things to go for bigger things.
Right.
You could be able to bigger things and then be practicing with the smaller things. But I've always had a dream to be a president of Ghana. I've always had a dream to lead my country because I have my own dreams. I have my own visions for this country. So fortunately, NDC gave me the opportunity to contest trying to lead the party as a flag bearer. But down the line, my big brother John Dramani Mahama came in, and I realized that no, I mean, he's done so much. He had what it takes. And then looking at the track record, there's no need rocking the boat. Why don't I let him go so that I could also take the baton after he was done? And anywhere I went, I told that your brother being a northerner, when he got the opportunity, some places he did a good job, some places they felt he didn't do well. I said, oh, if I'm going to be judged by JDM, then I'm going to step back and let him take the lead. Then I'll support him so that if he's able to get the point again, then I'll be able to learn a lot from him again. Then, you know, the rest going to be history. But unfortunately, we lost. We lost because of human error. We lost because of people greedy. We lost because people didn't do their job right. We lost because people were selfish. We lost because the election was rigged, not externally, internally. We lost because people were irresponsible. We lost because it was a deliberate act to punish John Dramani Mahama. So there's a 50-50 catch in terms of he, the candidate himself, his office, the people that he chose to lead him win the election, they let him down. You got to be smarter than the equipment. How am I going to make somebody a campaign manager that I can't control? I can't tell him what to do. You got to make a big man. No, you got, excuse my language, you got to find somebody who will do the yes man and know that when they get you power, they also set it out. And how you going to feel people that contested you? You know, don't want you to win. The same people made it to lose 2016. And how the hell are you going to make sure that you give them strategic position for them to protect the ballot box? He got a shit like the way Nanado did. Nanado knew that, look, I can't trust these people. Let me find my own chairman. Let me find my own general secretary. Let me make sure that I got people that will look out for me. But he wasn't smart. He brought people that he gave them power, and they used the power to take the power away from him. The same thing that when he was in government. He trusted people that he entrusted. The power he gave them, they used the power to go take the power away from him. Okay? And I realized that, look, they ain't going to make it 2024. What I'm seeing in NDC, there's no way they can win 2024. And, you know, there's a lot of ways to the same destination. If I have what it takes to form a party in this country, if I have a way that I have people that look up to me, if I have a way that I can make a difference, why don't I start another political party? So that it could be a caveat for the NDC to learn. The NDC have lost track. They're not preaching what the party stands for. That is why when I told Jerry John Rawlings that, look, earlier 2019, I said, look, founder, the leadership of the party, they're running the party like a private business. They're running the party because of what they could get. They're running the party. They're not helping the foot soldiers. They're not helping the grassroots. And he said, you know what? It's good you're speaking up. If some of you speak up, that is why I'm not supporting the NDC this time around. I even voted for my wife's party in 2016. So they are trying to the party. So this party, it is in his honor. This National Liberation Congress is for Jerry John Rawlings' honor. Because if he was alive, believe me, he would have signed some of our paperwork with the EC in putting the party together. Because he said he couldn't come out openly to support for his wife, because people would say, oh, you've been president and you still support him. But it would be legitimate for him to know that we have broken away from the NDC. There's another clone of the NDC. the grassroots, the foot soldiers, the cadres, and a lot of people that believe in JJ. So this is like an honor to him. So this party will give people the alternatives. Those that they've neglected, the foot soldiers that didn't have no hope, the people that holding the party that they think it belongs to them. Our party will determine which political party will win election 2024 if there's a second round, and it will let people sit up. And the way we're going to manage the party and handle the party, that will give hope to youth. That will tell people that there's a future. That will tell the youth that, look, there's another party that you don't have to pay. How are you a social intervention party that people have to pay like $100,000 equivalent almost just to register? In the state, it's $5,000 Joe Biden paid to as a president. So if you do
minimize or reduce the entrance fee, but the party says that they needed that money to run the organization because of course they don't have any other source of income besides dues. So if someone wants to run the country, that they need that person to be one of the strongest advocates and supporters of the party by paying a hefty registration fee.
That is baloney. Remember, this is an internal election. You can't tell me in the House that is a family.
Right.
It's good to have a lot of people to come and participate democratically if they have what it takes, not how deep their pockets are.
Correct.
Okay, that's baloney. The country will vote for you, not how much money you could dole out if you have what it takes to give good governance.
Yes.
Okay, they could be the Marines. It means whoever was able to rig money, if people gotta steal money, businessmen gotta give them money, and how do you stop the corruption? Okay, that is baloney. They could say that to the birds. Democracy shouldn't be expensive. Democracy shouldn't be weighed by how much money you got in your pocket. Democracy, monocracy shouldn't stop from wanting to lead. They could say that to the birds. NDC has governed this country before. Didn't know that they should have to plan 20 years, 30 years ahead how they're going to run the party? What did they do with all the projects and the businessmen, the capacity building that they did? They could say that to the birds. They could say that to the Marines. That's baloney to justify that people got to pay a lot of money because you want to keep a party, then dissolve the party. That is not what the Constitution stands for.
All right.
I'm sorry to say this. They lost it. NDC lost it big time. They gotta go back to the table and do a lot of reform.
Right. So you mentioned that the failure of NDC both in 2016 and 2020 is all due to human error. In other words, there are people who didn't do what they were supposed to do, or there are people who intentionally took actions to prevent the former president from winning in 2016 and from even coming back in 2020. Can you explain that to my listeners and viewers? What exactly do you mean by internal sort of sabotage in the party? Oh, I think we lost Honorable, and we'll wait for him to join him. So we've been listening to, Mr. Atubiga, Steve, talk to us about some of the experiences he has had in the party, some of the reasons where the party, actually failed at the poll in both 2016 and 2020. So Mr. Atubiga, you're back. I was asking, what you meant by, there were some internal actions that actually prevented John Dramani Mahama from winning the 2020 election. What are those activities? What are those intentional acts? What did people do to prevent him from winning? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. If you look at 2016, 2016, the ministers were corrupt. The ministers were greedy. The ministers did not take care of foot soldiers. The ministers were selfish. The ministers were grabbing, instead of forgetting that it is the party that gave birth to a government.
Right.
The incompetent people were given positions. We had a very bad chief of staff when he started in 2016, when he took over. A chief of staff, Prosper Bani, that even didn't know the way his hometown, didn't even know his hometown people. He didn't know the structure of the party. He didn't know the national chairman, Kobine J. He didn't have no knowledge of the structure of the party. He didn't look. A chief of staff is somebody that you gotta take care of the president's weaknesses. Okay, you gotta fight for the good soldiers. Make sure the party has logistics. Make sure the party, your young man, the youth have been taken. He lost touch. Then the boys were hungry. There was a disconnect between the disconnect between the party and then the government. A disconnect between the youth and the government. I mean, there was no any intervention programs. You want election, and then you canceling the allowance. You freezing employment. Nobody had hope in this country. As a matter of fact, people were praying that NDC should go for opposition. And then even his own his security was broken. Nothing was working. Everything was like in a mode of a supersonic auto control mode. I mean, everybody was looking out for himself. Then we lost. Then 2020, the people that did not help him win election, the people that made sure he lost, they came behind and rallied behind him. They know he has what it takes. They know he's a good material. They rallied behind him. He won because they wanted a running mate. And then he went and brought an outsider to come and be the running mate, the lady. The lady is not a grassroots person. The lady has no grounds in NDC. And that is the reason why he lost again. Because the people said, wait a minute. If we've been struggling with you all this time, at Mills, when he lost with Hamidu, he gave you the opportunity. He gave another person. So if you've lost, you got to be changing the running mates so that people that have suffered it for the party that are in line will all feel inclusive.
Right.
And that did not happen.
So,
and that deliberately made him to lose. Our national chairman has a dream of being a president. So if the lady goes and John Dramani Mahama does his one term, he may want another term.
Right.
It means he got to stay in line for long. And they all came together and ganged up the cabal and punished John Dramani Mahama. He losing again.
Right.
So he got to.
So John Dramani Mahama, does this show the type of person he is? Because these are some of the same people who were in charge of the party in 2016 and may have not performed well. Especially in 2016, we realized that the MPP put together a solid coalition center. They were able to call the election before even the media houses could call it. NDC didn't have any. What is the sense in putting the same people or allowing the same people to run your campaign again in 2020 and to be the same people who were put in charge of putting together a coalition system or a coalition center for collating the numbers and matching the MPP? I believe as a president or as a leader of the party, he needs to be hands-on and participate in, who is in charge of those outfit of the party so that they can deliver. Does this show the type of leadership he practices, or does it show that he's a hands-off person, that he doesn't get involved too much into the weeds?
That's one of his weakness. He doesn't know how to crack the whip, and he can't be Mr. Nice. Sometimes you gotta see the other side of you. You gotta crack the whip on your appointees. Anybody could be president. Any lunatic could be a president. Any most people could be voted. There's no schooling for presidency. It is the people that you choose to help you govern. They have to help you deliver good governance. If you don't get the right people to give you good governance, you're going to have bad economy. I mean, NDC got it wrong from day one. They don't have the right IT guy. If you compare the IT guy that MPP had, the way they set their system, I mean, the NDC Communication Center looks like the Binduri Internet Cafe. They are plastic waffle. The whole system is so messed up that how you want election, you want to win election. As of November 15th, they hadn't trained their polling agents 150,000.
Wow.
Okay. I'm telling you, somebody was sitting on the money, and some of the campaign directors were virtually crying and sending voicemail to the national chairman that, why are you sitting on the money? We got to go out there and train our polling agents.
Is
Okay,
this in 2016 or 2020 you are referring to? Because 2016 we knew that happened. That people
about
started.
2020. I'm talking about 2020. The
Right.
NDC wasn't prepared. As of 3 weeks to the election, they hadn't even finished training their polling station agents.
Right.
How you gonna win election in Ashanti region? They hadn't finished training polling agents. How you gonna win election?
Right.
Okay. Besides that, you go and put irresponsible people at the EC strong room. People, somebody go make sure that we collect the results. You sitting in somebody's office drinking coffee. I mean tea for good 3 hours, for crying out loud. But my problem is president himself, office, his private office, his executive secretary. Excuse my language, I'm gonna cuss a little bit. What the hell were they doing? You gotta call the strong office and find out the people looking out for your boss. How are the results coming in? What is going on? That is why I'm peeved with them. They are not serious. They have lost track. I'm not going to waste time with them. I have to build a political party. I have to believe their legacy. If I die, Atubiga in Ghana, a politician, what did he leave? I'll leave a political party that will set a certain standard, that will put both political parties on their toes. And the youth, my filing fee to be a president, to be a member of parliament, will be as cheap as coffee, will be as cheaper as buying a coffee, so that it will empower the youth. You can contest. It's not the matter of winning, but your messages and your vision will set an atmosphere of people doing the right thing for Mother Ghana.
Right. So this is not a party you are putting together just because you want to become president. You are putting a party together to provide a platform based or grounded on the ideas and principles of former President Rawlings, which will compete with the NDC. Don't you think that competing with the NDC will end up keeping the Buzie Dankwa tradition in government forever and ever?
Well, so
these two outfits be coming together, and now I think with somebody as very strategic and very intelligent as you, shouldn't you be fighting inside to build a party versus actually, fighting from outside? I think we just lost Atubiga very quickly, and we'll wait for him to join again. But we've been hearing some very interesting thing. He's saying that the NDC did not prepare for 2020. That the coalition centers they put together was can be equated to internet cafe has been doing, and it's not anywhere comparable or near what the MPP actually has. And this has been the case for 2016, and I think we've just witnessed again a repetition of what occurred in 2016, where the NDC seemed not to have a way around properly collating their results, and to the extent that even at courts, and of course the NDC will say they didn't go to court challenging the numbers, that they went to court challenging the declaration, which again is really confusing. If you don't have a problem with the numbers, then whatever is declared shouldn't it be enough? But then you're saying that what they went to court for is that the declaration was flawed, that the electoral commissioner had changed the numbers on so many different occasions, and all they are asking for is, with all these changes you are making, what is the basis of the changes? Show us the numbers on which you are making those changes, and be able to kind of tally those numbers so that it corresponds with what they are aware of as coming from the constituencies and the regional coalition centers. So those are some of the things that the NDC claimed were the reasons they went in. So you were telling me about NDC not being prepared for 2020, but I have a comment here for you from our permanent supporter here, Mr. Ato Kwamina Danso. Ato Kwamina Danso is always watching us and providing comments on our shows, and we are very grateful. Ato says that the Bendura Internet Cafe and the Plasma TV man would just love this dude. I can listen to him all day. Intelligent and honest dude, full of humor. Too bad for the NDC he left. So he is a fan of you, and he wants to tell you how intelligent you are, and maybe you have one person who is a member or potential member of your party here in the Chicago area. in the person of Atubiga. All right. So the next one I have here quickly before you come back in is
Give him my number.
Ibrahim. Yeah, go ahead.
Please,
You can respond to that.
give him my number. Tell him I love him. Give him
Sure,
my
sure,
number
sure.
and tell him give him my phone number and tell him I love him.
Of course. I would share your contact with that too, and he'll reach out to you. So Ibrahim is saying, go ahead, sir.
I said, when I was in the States, I had 3 companies. I had a shipping company, I had a home improvement company, and I was a realtor. Before the bubble burst in the real estate market, I had 8.
Oh man, we keep losing him. I think the internet in Ghana is kind of crazy. But he's gonna join us again. So he's saying that when he was in the United States, which he lived in the United States for a very long time, you could hear from the accent he flows. He just speaks like us as well. That he owned 3 companies: a shipping company, a real estate company, and there's a third one that I didn't get well, but I'll ask him when he comes back. So he's industrious. This is a guy just like one of us, right? Struggling in the United States, successful, went back to Ghana, joined the party, worked hard for the party, and now he has a grievance with the party, and he has to, remove himself and form his own. And we wish him well. Of course, I don't understand why parties will be intolerant to their members. Of course, every political party should have a constitution that kind of guides how members of the party would behave, or some expectation for behavior. And that's when you go outside the line or outside of what is expected of you, that the party would like to bring you in through their disciplinary processes and be able to, put you back on, track to build a party and wrestle power back from the government. But I believe that there should still be room for people who dissent, like people who criticize the government or the party for things that party executives may be engaging that are not, the right thing, or are not, strategically likely to return them back to power. Those dissenting views should be accepted and be dealt with, because if you have a thin skin, you can't tolerate your own party members. I mean, what happens when you come into government? And this is what we are seeing right now, where if you criticize the government, you get picked up by law enforcement or some national security persons and get beaten. We've seen this happening to journalists who just went and took pictures, and how the government dealt with them. So it starts from here. I think even inside the parties, that in the rank and files, that that the party is a little tolerant, take criticisms, but of course there has to be a certain level of criticisms that they can take, or there has to be some rules that are on the books that would guide at least an organizational behavior. And so when Atubiga returns, we'll talk about that. But essentially, we want to transition to his party, which is the National Liberation Congress, and what are some of the ideas, the views, the programs that he has for the country. We know that the two parties have gone in and out for so many years, and our development has been staggered. So what are some of the ideas he would have to develop our economy and grow the country? In this instance, we will still continue to wait for him to join us. But let me read a comment here from Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. Ibrahim, I'm going to put your comment to him. So even though I'm reading it, when he comes back, I'll read a comment to him. You are saying, ask Mr. Atubiga that why did he kept so long before voicing out all what he is saying? Of course, Mr. Atubiga has written so many books, 4 of them so far, and my understanding is he has a 5th one in the works. So he hasn't been really quiet. He's been there making the appropriate noise. I think this time around he has made some noise about Eugene Ahin's wife situation during the divorce time, which was somewhere around, was it March or February timeframe, where the wife was accusing him of him abusing and etc. etc. And he came into the defense of Eugene Ahin, and the party called him. And when he reported to the party's headquarters, other things were piled on that he has written that the party didn't find amusing at all. And as a result, they decided to, ask him to retract some of the words apologize at the trial. He didn't want to apologize for some of those things, and this is where we saw the letter of resignation came through, and also the party responding to him, accepting the resignation and etc. And then he went ahead and formed his own party. So we delve into all that. I don't think Atubiga is one that is quiet, but when he returns, we'll put that question to him and have him answer those questions. Mr. Dr. Edward Ofori is watching us live. We really appreciate Dr. Ofori for watching. Dr. Ofori, tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on. We have Atubiga in the studio. He's giving us information behind the scene, things that, of course, we as ordinary Ghanaians are not aware of until he came out to kind of voice out some of the inner dealings of the party that he disagrees with. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll check back in the green room and show that our guest is on today, and we will continue the program. If you haven't already done so, please share the link. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Ghana Agenda is on, and it's getting very interesting here. We'll be right back.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka Ya Vandam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I such credit Emma Ebusia phone and for more Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in credit. Na really I have friend numbers na screen Ghana.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Siana, in collaboration with the Siana nurses and allied.
All right, welcome back, Honorable. We had some technical difficulties there, and I'm glad you were able to make it back to continue the conversation. So, as I was saying, someone was asking that why were you quiet? Let me read that. It's coming from Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Ibrahim is saying, why did you keep so long? Why did it take you so long before you voiced out all what you are saying now? And then he said, too, would he had formed his party if the NDC had not warned him, something like that? Because probably he might even have be given an appointment. Does he have the support of Mrs. Rawlings? So really good questions there.
As a matter of fact, I am ready to go. The executive and the national executive of the National Liberation Congress, they are yet to make decisions to go sit down with our mother, who represents our father right now. Remember, the party is bigger than me. It's not an island. It's a lot of people that came together, and I'm just a leader and the founder. But our people, the leaders, the grassroots, the foot soldiers, some opinion leaders. Even as we just went offline, I just received call from a lot of people from even Gusitano and Co saying that they are on board. So honestly, I've had a dream of leading this country, but forming another party has always been something that I've always had a dream of having, leaving an institution, leaving a legacy in this country.
Right.
Okay, and the opportunity came. I cannot let that experience go wasted. The NDC didn't see the talent and the wasted. I mean, they wasted my. I wouldn't say my energy, the vision that I had. You know, if you leave anybody that even lives outside the country a little bit, you're smarter than the best intelligent people in our country because you think outside the box. You can get money, value for money. You're not corrupt. You always want to get something done. You want to see results. It's not talking. You don't blame people. If you're given the opportunity to lead this country, fix it. Okay? And somebody with a handyman background, with the discipline that I have, I mean, with a little bit of, I haven't finished the law school, but I understand a little bit of law. Okay? And I understand the street life. And then I was also electrician in the States. And then I worked with big companies. I mean, I've worked with, before establishing my own company, I worked with a lot of companies. I ran big jobs. I mean, I worked for Truland. If you Google Truland and a lot of companies, I mean, I could be the only black man having about 50, 100 people on job. Garnett Building. Garnett Building, if you Google Garnett, in Washington, in Virginia, I was the foreman. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of, I've worked at secret places, the Pentagon, the place, I mean, there as a technician, I've had the privilege. And when I look at where I come from, and I'm in the States there, I have a construction company that have the Spanish, the Puerto Rican, Black Americans working for me. And I could see myself, I'll go buy a house, old house, fix it and flip it. I could see, I mean, a $1.5 million home. I mean, I was living it. I mean, I worked so hard. You know how it is. You don't cut no corners. How I assisted immigrants to buy houses, how to flip houses. But that's why I brought, look, anybody that hasn't built anything, that hasn't created anything, if you let them lead, they can't do it. They ain't going to succeed. Because the system over here is not like the United States. Even if you're a blind man, excuse my language, even if you can't see, even if you, excuse my knowledge, excuse my language, even if you're dumb, the system is put in place that if what's his name? What's this crazy president's name? The one who just passed. I mean, who just what's his name? The president
in Ghana or
in the States, the one Joe Biden took over from. Who didn't want to let
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump could be president. Anybody could be president.
Of course, of course.
You saw how ignorant Donald Trump was. You saw how you know, people loved him. People loved Donald Trump with his style because he represented the real tradition of America. He believed in the system. With his ignorance, all he wanted is, he didn't want no immigrant in their country. He didn't want nobody. I mean, he was representing the real value of racism, segregation, how do you call it? Slavery, believing in America. If you're not an American, you don't deserve to be in their country. You don't. I mean, if he had the opportunity, he would have said everybody should leave America and leave only not just white people, but the real typical rednecks, the country, you know, the racist white people. That was what.
He's a nationalist. He's a nationalist. He wants. He believes in the United States and the indigents and the power of, you know, them to be the ones in charge of everything. Pretty much, yeah.
The same thing we should do in this country. Okay. The same thing. So if we have a leader that has lived outside, look at Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah built this country because of its ideology. He has stayed in the States. He knew the infrastructure. He knows that a good leader is about what you can do, not what you could take home. Okay. And as a human being, you gotta have an integrity. You gotta have integrity. You gotta have conviction. You gotta have principles. And these are the things that keeps me going. Yes, it gets me in trouble. People, but at the end of the day, the truth doesn't win instantly. The truth always wins in a later day. Okay, now I'm being vindicated. Okay, NDC regrets taking that decision. They didn't know I have it. You gotta be smarter than equipment.
Right.
You gotta be smarter than the equipment. You gotta show people that, look, if you push me, I ain't gonna fall, or if I fall, I'm gonna get up and brush myself, and I'm gonna look fly and still looking clean. Okay? And I'm glad that they have regretted. They went to my parents because they went to my daddy. My daddy got the kinsmen involved. I told them that, look, I'm an American train, and I gotta keep my mouth where my foot is, or I gotta put my where my mouth.
So let me ask you, what is it gonna take? What would it take for you to rejoin the NDC? Because I was saying while you were gone that, somebody like you with your energy and intellect and strategic, ways of going around things, that you should be inside the NDC helping fix it, helping it to become a better party that is likely to wrestle power back from the UP tradition. Now, what would it take to bring you back?
When there's a change of attitude, when the NDC structures in place that the poor and the nobody have hope in the party, when the party is not greedy, they start doing capacity building. When the party remembers that the value of the party is people's matter, and they gotta know that the party is for the poor, and they gotta put structures in place that the poor has hope in it, then we could talk.
Right. Okay. Because we witnessed Beda Samoa, forming his own party, the DPP or so. Of course, the wife of the former President Rawlings, we're talking about Nana Konadu Ajima Rawlings here, forming her own party, the National Democratic Party. And of course, you also forming your own party, which is, of course, the third time we are seeing some party form after some disagreement with the main or the core National Democratic Congress. These little chips away from the party, do you think these are contributing to the party's demise at the poll? Because, like you said, politics is a numbers game. And sometimes it just takes, a few people switching the whole constituency to go to the other side. Do you think actions like this, individuals who are prominent in the party, leaving the party to form their own, is costing the party at the polls?
Thank you very much. All the people that broke away from NDC, they never look. Rawlings' wife's party, it didn't sit well ethically that you've been a first lady that have served you. The circumstances that she left, it made her, the foundation of her party, very not good, because John Dramani Mahama didn't make you a running mate.
Right.
That's why you're upset. Or Atamils agreed that you go one term, he goes one term, and then you take over. But when Atamils went one term, people around him said, look, you still fit, you gotta go. But he had a deal with Nana Kunedu.
Right.
So part of it that compounded that she left. So her leaving, she couldn't take a lot of people away. Or better, somewhere they were upset with Jerry. You can be upset with the founder, then you take a lot of people away.
Right.
And those days, there wasn't social media like what we're doing right now, that people in all over the world, the villages, will know exactly what went wrong.
Right.
I am a grassroots person. I represent the nobody. I represent the people that have sacrificed for the party. I represent that loyalty doesn't pay. I represent the struggle of an average Ghanaian, and I represent the cry of the nobodies in the party. And then the way the party treated me. So that is why my exit is biting a lot in the system, is biting the party, because I'll be getting a lot of sympathy votes. Okay, and then as all of them, I represent my party. None of them say I represent the value of Jerry John Rawlings. So that is the difference between myself and them. So at the post 2024, that would take the decision. Does Atubiga have the clout? Does the people believe in suffering? Or those who are in my situation that they don't want to vote for the party anymore? It's my party alternative of supporting me for us to punish the party, so that we will decide who leads this country.
Right. Yeah, we just with that. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's a rescue mission. It's a saving mission. It's a dignity mission. It's an all-inclusive mission. It's deserting mission. It's a neglect mission. It's a reform mission. And that is what the value of this, that is what my party, our party, the alternative party, the clone party of the NDC is giving hope to the average Ghanaian.
Right. Okay, great. So this is like too many grievances that people had all coming together to form a party of their own that represents the ideas of or the principles of probity, accountability, and social justice in this case. Now, how far are you with the party's organization?
That is very true.
Yeah, have you already registered with the EC? Have you filed all the proper documents, and is this party now?
All our paperwork is with the EC now.
Okay.
And then the requirements that they want to provide it for them. And so there's another phase that when they finish endorsing those documents, they'll bring it and we'll give the second phase. Then we'll pick up the provisional license. And then which will take us within the next 2 weeks, that should be done. Then after the provisional licenses, then they'll give us a great sort of 3 months to put all our offices together in the whole country, the 275 constituencies. They'll go around and inspect our offices. Then we'll have the full license.
Okay. Now, so and so you are actually constituting constitutional branches, and you would be having people run for parliament on your, on your party's platform in all the 274 constituencies in the country. Is that 275?
Very true. Right. That is what that is what the team, the national chairman, the secretary, that is what they are doing now. And then, like I told, once we get the first phase, hopefully by Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get the first document, and then they'll go around and get the endorsement. And as they're getting the endorsement, because the party needs to have funding fathers throughout all the constituencies. And once they put their signatures and what have you and bring it back, they will give it to the EC and help get our temporary certificate. Then with that, we then form our constituency executive, put them together, then inaugurate all our offices. Then by that time they'll be ready. They will come and then receive our final document.
Have you had any conversation with the former president John Dramani Mahama concerning your decision to formulate a different party or clone a party out of the NDC?
He's not happy. He's out of town, but he sent me a WhatsApp message telling me his displeasure. He wished I had stayed to fight inside instead of exiting. He's not happy, but he sent me a text yet to notify he's not happy. He wished I had stayed on and at least have a conversation with me. The way my relationship with him, I should have told him or talked to some of his family, somebody for me. But it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than to take permission on certain things. I have a dream, I have a country I want to lead, so it's always easier to say, bro, you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but hey, let's all keep the ball rolling and see who scores a goal. His goal is my goal. My goal should be his goal. I've sacrificed for him for a long time. I've been with the NDC for 29 years. Okay, next year will be 30 years. If it was a baby or a child, by now the child is ready for marriage. So I want to build something.
Right. Okay, great. So I'm sure you said something that you would. I think I overheard you somewhere say that you would even ask him because of how you believe in him being a good guy, a good person, and somebody who has the country at heart, to come to your party and lead your party to victory in 2024. If that is the case, then why don't you, after organizing your party, go back into negotiation with the NDC? Because I think you have more in common with the NDC than any other party. Is it possible where you join alliances? Because even if you go back into an alliance with the NDC, you now have a say. You can now dictate, how coalition center is built, because it's going to be an alliance between NLC and NDC. And NLC should have a seat at the table when these decisions are being made. What do you think about that?
That will be the decision of the National Council of Elders, our godfather, the leadership of. But we don't intend merging with NDC. We don't intend. That is off the table. We want to see how many votes we could gain together 2024. We don't intend sitting with them because it's the same value. If you take a bottle of 7-Up and you put how do you call it, Sprite in, it's the same taste, it's the same value. They have to show a change. They have to show that they are different. But we don't intend merging with the NDC. We don't intend to. Look, we want to give the NDC a run for their money. We got to teach them a little lesson, okay? But we don't know about the people. But I have a party. I don't want to let people down, okay? I want to save this country. We want John Dramani Mahama to come contest on the ticket of on our party, so that NDC learn a lesson. I'll poach him if I get an opportunity to come and lead, but we don't intend merging with the NDC. Okay, NDC has let the 6 million Ghanaians down. NDC couldn't protect and complete the results very well. NDC party at this moment is not serious. NDC's leadership have lost track. NDC leadership right now don't know what they are doing. The NDC leaders at this moment don't believe in hard work. The NDC leadership right now doesn't know that you gotta reward people. The NDC leadership now has lost the value of the party, and the NDC leadership don't understand that it's about the people, it's not about your pocket. And the NDC leadership don't understand that we have a country to deliver, we have a country to rescue. But the leadership of the NDC right now are greedy, they are selfish, they don't believe in nobody, and they're building the wall around themselves. Then we gotta let that crash. We gotta break that wall. We gotta break that circle. Then we gotta relieve, or we gotta rescue the party by doing what we're doing, and everybody will have an opportunity in the party.
Okay, so you've mentioned all these problems that the NDC have. Give us 3 things that the NDC can do to fix themselves. Because of course, the elections are around the corner and they have to reorg in order to be formidable going forward. What are those 3 things? Of course, I know you don't care if they organize themselves, right? You want your party to emerge the winner in this situation. But if you were to give them some advice or recommendations, what would be 3 things that you think they should do or tackle in order to bounce back? Oh, I lost him again. So I was okay.
The network went bad. If you could repeat what you said, I did not hear you very.
I know you definitely want your party to be the ones that emerge winner in the next elections. But if you were to give a recommendation or 3 recommendations, some type of advice to NDC to get them to bounce back and wrestle power from the NPP, what would they be? Just 3 recommendations for the NDC to fix themselves.
I would tell the NDC to go back to the drawing board. They should make sure that any decision that they take now and tomorrow is in the interest of the average Ghanaian. Remember, it is a party that gives birth to a government.
Right.
And when a party gives birth to a government, the government does not take care of the mother, which is the political party. You will have the people suffering. You will have the party supporters crying for food. You will have people that have no confidence in the party again. NDC should go back to the grassroots. NDC should remember the comradeship that formed the party. Don't forget that when we talk about Congress, it's an amalgamation of people from different backgrounds, political background, like the CPP, the PNC. They came together. That's the meaning of Congress. And the NPP is a tradition. That is the difference between NDC and NPP. Okay, NDC is not a property-owning party. NDC is equality for all. There shouldn't be a rich man, but you can be driving a 2021 V8, $120,000 vehicle, going to tell the average person that you represent the poor. Does it work that way? Hell no. So you gotta put system in place. If I don't have confidence and future in the party, so this should tell you that what happens to the average Ghanaian. NDC should also go to the base, which is the grassroots, the strong areas, and build a bond with them. Okay, then respect. The NDC gotta put on the spirit of tolerance. NDC gotta respect internal criticism. If I could if I cannot criticize you internally, then I don't have no moral right to criticize my opponents.
Right.
Okay? I gotta be able to criticize internally, then I will be able to make relevance and have the locus and the moral right to introduce my criticism externally.
Right. You want to remove the log in your eye before you go outside and talking about the fan in somebody's eye.
And NDC gotta know that if you train a dog to be biting outside, there will be a day that it will bite inside because a stranger may come into the house.
Right.
And they're gonna respect that.
Right. So that's one thing. They need to be tolerant. They need to, and then the second thing is they need to go back to the drawing board and restructure and focus on the poor. What is the third recommendation you have for them?
Yes. That's my wife right here.
Hello, beautiful Atubiga, Mrs. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Sorry, we are keeping him away from you. But,
I was driving while talking to you. So I just got in front of the house and she came out to sit in the car. I was driving while we were talking.
Oh, nice to see her.
That's the first lady in waiting.
The future first lady. We are happy to have her on the show as well. Thanks for joining the show. You are so, looking good. That's good. I appreciate that. So we're asking now, what would be your third recommendation for the NDC? Even though you want NLC to be the winner, but if you were to advise them, what would be the third thing they should do so that they can bounce back?
The third thing I think I want them to do is, if they can dissolve the party right now and join us, a very nice thing to do, so that we will leave. Just we tell some of our members, we don't want all of you to come to collapse another party. We want some of you to stay there so that we will tell you which people you should vote for, so that we'll keep the mother party alive. But we will lead. Okay? Right. We will lead like the duck. When the duck is going, the duck is behind and the kids are leading. That is how we want to lead NDC. Right.
So you lead in the front. So of course, they're not going to dissolve their party and come back. Now, what I want to do is I want to
finish. By the time we finish 2024, believe me, the NDC will turn like the CPP. The NDC will turn like the PNC. And believe me, we will give them a run for their money.
Okay, great. There's a comment here from Thomas Asena. Thomas is saying that the main reason why the NDC did not win the 2016 and the 2020 election is because there was no party formed from the NDC. Thank you, Atubiga, for your breakaway. Victory awaits NDC 2024. Ayazu. Of course, this is a NDC supporter, and he's saying because of the breakaway that it means there's something happening in the party which is likely to, pull it to power back in 2024. What do you say to that? Is that your understanding? Do you think because he broke away that the party will win?
I'm telling you, our support base is from home. We will pull a lot of votes from the MDC. We will take at least 20-30% of their votes away. Okay. And where does it put them? This is a reality.
If we take 20% or 30% of their votes away, that is about some 1 or 1.5 million people, right? Because of the 6 million that they got. Where would you be getting the other 6 or so or another 5 million for you to win? Because in Ghana, for you to win, you need at least more than 6 million votes to be victorious. So what are your plans of getting more than the required 50 plus 1% to become president?
Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you. If we're able to take 30% from the NDC, okay?
Yeah. Then
the floating voters will give us the opportunity. And then, the burning of the excavators and then the galamsey unemployment, they're not going to vote for NDC. They're not going to vote for MPP.
Okay.
They will give us opportunity. Then the second round, there is not going to be a one-time victory. There's going to be a second one in 2024. And that is where we'll see who got the muscle, okay, to make sure you have the best deal. Maybe I may tell NDC to support me based on, NDC may have more members of parliament.
Right.
And have the numbers, okay? Then we may tell MP to join us. Then we lead. Right.
Okay.
NDC, it's a no deal for NDC, no deal.
Right. Yeah, of course, the people are angry in the country right now. They are all asking the government to fix the country over issues that have, built up over the years. Of course, our electricity grid is still in shambles. We are still having doomsaw. In 2021, when, of course, John Dramani Mahama has installed excess capacity for the country when he was exiting. There's so many issues. Look at the Galamsey issue, the water body. So people are getting peeved. And of course, they want alternatives as a result. And so you are coming in at a very good time to actually take floating votes away from both parties. So that, definitely looks like a workable solution. So what I want to do now is I want us to focus on the NLC itself. With the many problems we have in this country, economic growth-wise, we know that our debt at this point is about 76% of GDP, which is continuing to grow. Government just went and took another 70 billion euro in 70 million euros, to start a development bank. There are so many things going on. What is the plan that will be rolled out by an NLC government to reduce our debt or dependence on debts, but at the same time grow the economy?
Okay, thank you very much. A country like Ghana, you have to run this country like a business entity. You cannot run Ghana like the way this government is running Ghana, like a sole proprietorship. You gotta believe. Look, Singapore has less than 7 million population.
Right.
They have 367 banks. Singapore, Ghana, 30 million. We should have auto banks. Banks that are just auto, that will be auto banks.
So there will be lending to auto industry and the auto. Yeah. Okay.
We should have auto banks. We have real estate. We should have real estate banks. We should have agri banks. We have all the banks that you think about. Any country that you close banks, you shut the economy down, because the only people on the government payroll today is less than 1 million population.
Right.
So what happened to the 29 million people? Let's assume 10 million are kids. It means the non-formal side, the kaya, the tomato sellers, the businessmen, the charcoal, they are. So if you're not running the country for them to feel the impact, who gives a job? Does anybody in the United States expect that when they finish schooling, government should give them jobs? Hell no.
Absolutely not.
Businesses. You could set up anything. All right, you could build anything. Then once it makes sense and your credit is good, even if your credit is good, you could bring people on board. You're gonna get them set up the business.
Right.
Under my leadership, government ain't gonna give any ministry any dime. If any ministry, the minister, if you cannot run your sector as a business entity, you're not fit to be my minister. You gotta have somebody to go construct the railways, and maybe you're gonna come put on. You will come and put the coaches on. Government only get the taxes. You get people that will construct the roads and put the toll booths there. Even if you're accident, those forests you put in there, then they make their money certain number of years. Then government takes it back. Okay. Another thing, how the hell are you gonna give a contract to a contractor to go to a technical school to go paint the school?
Unfortunately, we just lost the Honorable Stephen Atubiga again, but he's gonna join us. I know Nora is enjoying the show. Nora is saying, please come back and tell us more. So we'll wait for him to join us, and he's telling us, the plans that his party, the would roll out when they come to government. And he's saying that, he's going to run the country like a business, that all his ministers would have to run their ministries as a business. For instance, that contracts will be awarded for roads to be constructed by private entities, and those private entities will be allowed to charge tolls on those roads until they are able to recoup all their investments and make whatever profits that they've agreed with the government, and then the government takes over those roads and manage it on behalf of the country. So I was just kind of paraphrasing some of the things you were saying about giving contracts to get roads built and have toll booths on the road until the investor recoups his money or her money that the government will take over. So tell us more. I have Nora Tete here. And Noah is saying he wants you to come back and tell us more. So thank you, Noah, for watching. But yeah, tell us more, please.
Government spending a lot of money to rehabilitate government buildings. All this could be done as practicals, okay, for the technical schools. We spend millions of dollars to do the roads. We don't maintain them, and they start falling apart within the shortest period of time. That could also be a practical work for the technical, those who do in the road engineering sector. We get them the bitumen machine, we get them the bulldozers, we get them the trucks, and they do that as their practical. Then we're going to save money. And government ain't got business building hospitals. It's just like Innova. Government should just build hospital centers that handles dialysis, heart problems, chronic diseases. Since we have the national health insurance, then people will be investing like you in the States. You could build like a 3-4 bedroom house.
Oh my God, our internet today is crazy, and that is kind of messing the show up. But we're hearing a lot of good things. So of course we have all these technical schools in the country, even polytechnics. That's people graduate from those schools and just some of them go and do their national service in the bank. You're an engineer, electrical engineer, then you go do your national service in the bank. Meanwhile, we have a lot of electrical engineering problems in the country that you could be helping with. There are people who are in technical schools learning, building, construction, painting, and etc. But he's saying that we still award contracts for commercial organizations to go to those very same schools, that the technical schools, and paint the schools for them. Why wouldn't we, of course, employ or get the students engaged in resolving or helping out with those problems, even while they're in school or after they graduate, and be that or use that as their national service. So these are some of the good ideas. Of course, we want him to come back and tell us more. So basically, what is happening here is the ideas that, of course, the NLC it's espousing or is talking about these ideas. I believe if you ask Atubiga, will say are grounded on what's the principles and the bedrock of the NDC, or the founding father of the NDC former President Rawlings. So, Mr. Atubiga, you were telling us that the technical schools could have been engaged in practicing some of the things they are learning while they are still in school. Please tell us more.
Like the government buildings, the technical school students will be painting it, will be refurbished. Government vehicles will be changing their oils at the technical school. If it's involved in the accident, they fix it, all in the form of practicals. They're maintaining them so that they will not wear and tear quickly. They can, then the government will save a lot of money. But we don't think outside the box. Okay? Government could make the agri sector. Look, any amount of food you bring to the United States, they're going to buy. They'll consume it. So we could be active with the farmers. The banks give them the loans, the incentives. They do, a lot of farm. So you expand the private sector, and it touches everybody. But everybody's on his own now. You got to be creative to survive. You got to know how to do your own Ghana. And all the factories that Kwame Nkrumah put in place, they all collapsed because we didn't allow people, government putting the wrong people there, corruption, and here. If you give it, privatize it, and say, government, you take it. I'm going to give you the loan. Run it. I want this amount of money. You support, everything will be okay. It's just bad leadership. Bad leadership, my brother.
Yeah, so our problem is bad leadership. It's not like we don't have the resources, but that's, leadership is not. But leadership will tell you that they are now going out sourcing funds for a development bank to kind of be dedicated to, providing long-term loans and medium-term loans to small and micro enterprises in the country. Isn't this what you are saying? Isn't this one of the things that you would even want to do in terms of forming bank for construction, bank for mortgages, bank for auto industry, bank for? Wouldn't this be the same thing that the government is currently doing by investing in a development bank?
How you gonna spend this? You go get a loan to come build a bank, and the same amount of money you spent to close other banks doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So in other words, you're saying they could have recapitalized those banks that they closed.
Makes sense.
And perhaps use them for the purpose. Yeah.
If you are in the United States, the police officer in Chicago has a different uniform. And if you go to the counties, they have different uniforms.
That's correct.
You gotta do that the same in Ghana. You gotta make sure the police officers make their own money. They gotta go to court and win cases. That's how the police make money to buy the vehicles. Ain't nobody giving them anything. So that the sheriff is able to know that my policemen are winning cases at the court. Their people are paying fines and they're pushed into the system.
Yeah,
that's for your government will actually, look, we don't need to borrow no money. We have oil and everything. It's just bad leadership, bad governance. Okay? And NDC will be worse if we allow them to come to power. Whatever Nanado is doing, he's doing his one term. Let's agree that he's old. It's okay. He's gonna exit once they. But what is NDC gonna do different?
Right.
What are we gonna do different?
When NDC was in power, and of course you were also, strong member of the NDC, then very influential. Even though you didn't have any portfolio, you were still very influential behind the scenes. The NDC can make claims to things they did. For instance, all the hospitals they built, even all the power generators they brought into the country. They can, and some of the road constructions and the school facilities they built. They can make claim to some development projects that they've executed. But it seems we are not seeing that under the MPP. What will the NLC do different from what MPP is currently doing, which is almost nothing?
Everybody with their style of leadership, and there's always a first-time president. John Dramani Mahama got the opportunity. He proved people wrong. President Nanado put all his money in food planting for food, and John Dramani Mahama did infrastructure. Right. We don't know why his second term he's going to do something different. Every president will style, but I'll be a president that thinks outside the box. At the presidency, I'll have an office for Nanado, put him in charge of planting for food. I'll have an office at the presidency for John Dramani Mahama. Come and do what you do best. I'll have an office for President Kufuor. Come and do the intervention programs that you want to do best. And then together we'll country. And I will insist we having a 40, 50-year plan. And that it doesn't matter whoever comes to lead the country. You don't stop my projects. You got to use the resource to continue the projects before you do yours. Continuation. And that is what I'll be doing different.
Okay, great. Thomas.
Of course, I'll be bringing.
Go ahead. You say you'll be bringing what?
I'll be bringing in investors. I will sell made in Ghana more. I will insist in the technical schools. If you're from a poor home, your parents ain't got no money, and you want to go to university, go read dondology. What the hell are you gonna be with dondology? If you go to the technical school, if you go to technical school, you come out with a profession. Right. You come out with a handyman. You come out with something that will make you start making money immediately you finish schooling. Okay. Everybody wanna be an accountant. How many companies gonna employ accountants? Right. Everybody wanna do political science, and they're making the fight so expensive. What do you do with your political science? But if we could have more doctors, more lawyers, more teachers, more carpenters, more plumbers, then as we build in the country, these people will have jobs to do. Right. Okay. Taxes will be paid. I don't need I don't need 10 engineers on a government small building. I need one engineer to even handle the whole neighborhood, and the rest of the paper pushers who have something doing. In Ghana, you have somebody who's put his signature. They'll put the document in another person's desk, put the date on. They put in another person's desk. He's gonna clip it, okay? And all of them sitting on their black asses. I'm sorry to say this, and somebody gotta come pick the document and move. That is wastage. I was giving contracts in the government offices. I will be giving you contracts. So your employees are contractors. Crack the whip and get the job done at a certain period of time. That is, and we're gonna have the clocking. If anybody don't come to work early, it's on you, the contractor. That is, people should be accountable.
So you'll be augmenting, you know, the government employee or the staff at the government employee, like they do in the United States here. Even me, I'm a contractor, you know. And by the way, actually, I don't live in Chicago. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I consult for the U.S. government. So, you know, something like that would encourage delivery because, you know, instead of just pushing papers, then there is real productivity because they are private employees. They are not government employees who will be paid regardless. There's a question here from Mr. Thomas Asada again. He says, Mr. Atubiga, there is currently free Wi-Fi in Chebi. What will you do for the people of Boku in your first 100 days in office?
I'm going to be a president. I'm going to be a president for all Ghanaians. If I cannot put Wi-Fi in the whole country, then I cannot put Wi-Fi in Binduri. I cannot put Wi-Fi in Boko. And believe me or not, we are in an era that schools should have free Wi-Fi. Should be in certain strategic areas like resting areas, the parks, primary schools. Okay, it should be a basic necessity. Having access to the internet should be where government should invest. We take over we try to take over the phone companies as our tradition and give free Wi-Fi. It's not if you give those things to your citizens, you are building a country because people gotta go in there and study how to build stuff, how to fabricate stuff.
Do you think we're asking for too much when we don't even have good drinking water? We don't have good drinking water.
So if the technical, my brother, the water problems could be resolved if we teach the technical schools and they'll be doing their practicals. There are a lot of hand machines that you give them the technology in the villages, they'll be drilling the boreholes as their practical work. Government being looking to award contract to cronies.
So your answer to that is if you can extend Wi-Fi to the rest of the country, it wouldn't make sense for you to just extend it to Binduri or to Boku. That's, you know, you're going to represent, you're going to be the president for the entire country and not for just a segment of the country like we are seeing in, you know, the current administration. But, you know, of course, if you want to do any projects, whether it's free, whether it's water you want to provide or internet, you're going to have to pilot it from somewhere. So, you know, the argument could be made that free Wi-Fi in Chebi is that one pilot that we want to test to see if it is successful. And then we spread it to the rest of the country. It's just interesting that it's starting from the hometown of the president, you know. You
and I know that with technology today and satellites all over in the sky, there are some gadgets. You can go hang it on a tree, and then the whole area will get the Wi-Fi for free.
That's correct. We can strategically
technology. You don't need to get Wi-Fi and even be paying somebody. You could get free Wi-Fi in the sky somewhere in the area. You just get the right gadgets and install it. Then you could have free Wi-Fi for the communities. And we're talking about bilateral trade. Bilateral trade is not just asking for money. They could come put the technology and every constituency everywhere that you're gonna have Wi-Fi everywhere in your country. The Israelis may give you some, the Americans may give you some, the British may give you some, the Canadians may give you some, the Germans may give you some. By the time you realize the whole country has free Wi-Fi and it's free.
Okay, great. Okay, one other issue that is, you know, on top of mind for every Ghanaian is Galamsey. And we've seen the number of people from China who end up in Ghana. And currently speaking, Ghana is the country with the most Chinese living anywhere in Africa. Ghana has the most. I think we have about almost 700,000 of them also, which is almost, if you do the calculation, is about 3% of our population. And we know that the technique the Chinese use in drilling, it's very not friendly to our environment. They use the most heavy equipment. Even their small scale mining, if you consider the techniques and the equipment and tools they use, it's not really a small scale, it's a large scale mining they do. But because the way they contract even these lands, that they are not on the radar of the government, so they are not on the hook for reclamation and planting. But at the same time, this Chinese or the Chinese government is helping us with a lot of things. Like we're in contract with them to build a road for us, for which we'll pay with diamonds or we'll pay with bauxite, etc., etc. How would you manage this relationship so that you don't piss off the Chinese government, at the same time prevent the Chinese who come to our country and help our locals destroy our environments? How would you navigate this without pissing off the Chinese government and continuing to form a good relationship with them and have them support us with our development agenda?
If you think of Chinese buffet in the United States, is the Chinese. If you want real noodles, if you want real fried rice, is the Chinese, right?
Right.
They're taking over the market in the States. Because if you ask a Black American to cook you Chinese rice, you can taste it.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So as the because Chinese, they in advance, they train themselves. Okay, and they've trained so well that they become the experts of the gold in mining of the gold. Who gave the Chinese the visa to come to our country?
We did.
And then when they come to what address do they put the coming in?
We give them
and then when they come in, who receives them to the villages?
Right.
And when they receive them in the village, who gives them the land? The black man will kiss the ass of the white man. The Ghanaian will have the same technology that could do that better.
Right.
But because of lack of any Chinese man that comes here comes to invest. And they have an association that they put a lot of them and they support each other. So look, no government can stop the galamsey mining in this country. No government. I don't care what anybody tells. Because there are some countries that so there are some regions, some constituencies. There are no cocoa, there are no yam, there are no maize. All they have is a natural resource like the Obuasi. People got a mind to eat. Fathers be mining. Great-great-grandfathers be mining. The generation, all they know is mining. They are blacksmiths. They are goldsmiths. Okay? So you got to find ways to work with them. All right? The illegal miners are afraid of the chief, the assemblyman, the DC, and even the police and the military. Because when they come, they go back to mining. But if government dialogue with the citizens and then show them how to do safe mining, it doesn't matter whether it is Chinese, and tell the people they gotta protect your environment, police your environment. If we come and we find anybody at the water market a land and give it to them, like 30,000 acres, you demarcate 10,000 acres within 5-6 years, you relocate them to another 10,000 acres, they reclaim those lands back and plant trees or plant cocoyam, plant whatever. So as you keep recycling the land and coming back, the people are doing safe mining, environmental friendly mining. At the same time, when they shift to another, something is planted on. So government got to think outside the box. If not, there will be a day people come out and rebel. People come out and die because they got to eat. You cannot take somebody's land and you got to be hungry. Prostitution will go up. Divorce will go up. People going to die. So, a whole lot, my people. So government got to think, and that is the we're going to give them.
Okay. So your government will be the one that thinks outside the box. You definitely want support from the Chinese government, but you don't want to piss them off. So you want to restructure how mining is done, and so that they can reclaim their lands once they they are done with the mining and be able to plant other agriculture products on those lands and kind of recycle the lands. Pretty much is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
great.
exactly what I'm saying. And besides that, we're doing more deportation. Look, structure's gotta work.
Right.
If the immigration service is working very well, if the forestry department is working very well, the mineral commission is working very well, okay, and then we are able to put our visas that we give to the Chinese. If you come here, there's a tracking device on you. We arrest people and prosecute. We arrest people and deport them. There will be sanity.
But
There
if
will
you're
be
doing that, then you would piss off the Chinese government, right? If you put in tracking devices on their citizens when they come to your country, you should expect something more drastic to happen to your citizens when they go to China. So that's what I mean by how would you manage this relationship? Because this is a relationship that, even when we arrested a Chinese woman who, fired shots in the air, we didn't do anything to him. We actually sent him to China and you could hear Osafo Mafo saying it's more beneficial to send her back to China than to penalize her in Ghana. That is because of the diplomatic relationships we have with China and the role China plays in our economy. They are not people you want to piss off. So how would you, manage that, putting a tracker on their citizens?
It is because when we go take those loans, they give us conditions. You cannot lock a Chinese. You cannot incarcerate Chinese. You gotta be easy with the Chinese. All those conditions, and people sign and take those loans. Today, there are other countries like I think Zimbabwe. There are a lot of countries, African countries, that the Chinese are even wearing their police uniforms. The Chinese are taking over the Chinese are taking over their airports. The Chinese are taking over their ports for lack of paying debt. You got to think outside the box. Trust me. If we run the country like a business entity, you will make a lot of revenue, be able to offset. You don't need those loans.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I know we've been talking for like an hour and a half, and the wifey just came into the car. I'm sure she wants you to come into the house and help her with one or two things. But let me ask, with your party, and of course I have a lot of listeners, almost 428 of them listening all over across the world. Some of them are in the United States here. How can they reach you? How can they reach the party? How can they support you if they want to support you? I'm saying that because, like you told me, you are still in the formative stages. Do you have a website done already? Is there a way for them to reach out? And if they can reach out, who will be that point of contact?
A lot of money involved putting this party together. I need a lot of logistics. I need a lot of money. Even if I have to buy vehicles throughout all the constituencies, I have to set up offices throughout all the constituencies. And besides the party, I do a lot of intervention programs in terms of supporting people in paying their school fees, supporting the needy, the widows. You gotta give them food. So I am doing all with the help of people, and that is what I've been doing long time, not today. So any support, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. Let's have a dream together and then build this country. My phone number is 054 279 01. I'm sorry, 054 279. You have that number, right? I don't.
Yeah, I do. Let me see the 054 number. And I can put it on there too.
I have a lot of numbers, but that is my direct line. It comes straight to me.
Okay, you are talking about the 054 279 1096.
Yes, that is my direct number. It comes direct. One of the safest number to reach me. And I also have the 022 0266. I'm missing my numbers. Hold on a minute.
I have that one too. You're talking about the 026 659 4928. It's another number that if people are interested in supporting you and the party, that they can reach out directly to you. Is there a secretary or somebody else they can reach out to, or is just get to you and you will talk to.
At this moment, people are all the people, especially I pick the call. Even though I have the party structure, but as a founder, people want to talk to me. People want to talk, so I take time to pick all my calls. Even if I don't see it immediately, I return all the calls. So at there's both WhatsApp on both lines, and believe me or not, somebody will return the calls. If I'm in the meeting, the secretary picks the call. If I'm in the house, my wife support. But if we put the structures of the we are putting the offices together. We're painting the structures. We're putting the logistics together. And once we have the headquarters set up, and these all within 3 months, within 3 months, everything should be in place. That the website, our office, our secretariat, because all our executives are now interim. They are all temporary executives. So that's why we're working on the paperwork. So in 3 months, we'll go through the election, getting the right people there, and the officers will be ready. But for now, I try as much as I can to talk to people directly. When they call, I pick. If I don't pick, even when they send a WhatsApp, they send message, text, somebody return the calls. But there's another way of doing it. When I get to the office, when we're meeting the committee, the temporary place that we operate in, the calls are being returned. But people like those that are with you now, I'm giving them my direct line, my direct contact, that we will be talking together.
Okay, great. So they have your number. The two numbers are 026 659 4928. The other one is 054 279 1096. I think we lost Dr. Mr. Atubiga briefly again. When he comes back, I have two questions from my viewers for him to answer, and then I will take his last words so that we can bring the program to an end. So Mr. Atubiga has told us so many things. He talked about, the issues he have with the NDC, the fact that he has to resign from the party, the things that the party need to fix. The party need to be tolerant. The party need to look at its founding ideals and, tune itself back to the poor, and avoid the luxuries of life where they are driving $100,000 V8s, which doesn't really make them tuned to the ground. In other words, they are not, living according to the ideals for which they were formed, and some of that can be perceived as lost in touch with the people. So he's saying all kinds of things that the party can do, and I've actually asked him to give us three, and those are the three solid things that he believes the NDC can do to bounce back and to wrestle power from the MPP come 2024. Now, come 2024, if you ask the NDC people, they will tell you they are confident that they will still, wrestle power anyway. And you can see that in some of the statements and the comments that we've got here, especially from Thomas Asana, who says that, because the party was together and there was no breaking up or nobody peeling away in 2020, that was why, in fact, they lost the election. That's by the mere fact of some type of agitation in the party currently that is going to work well for the party. I don't know the logic behind that, but that's what he says. So Mr. Atubiga, you back to us. There are two comments that we have here that I would like for you to answer to. And, and then I'll take your last word so you can go to my lovely sister there and continue to enjoy the rest of your weekend. So the first comment says, and it's coming from Ibrahim, it says, can you tell us something about the Galamsey and the burning of excavators? What will this party do with regards to mining if voted into power? So I think you've talked about mining and what you would do, but the piece that perhaps maybe you can give us a little bit about is the burning of Galamsey. And we know that some of these things end up in judgment debts. Is that the right thing to do? Do you think, we have a lot of silt in, for instance, the Odogo or no? The Odogono, which is the Gora, the big gutter in Ghana running through Nima all the way to the sea. Shouldn't the government be trying to, mobilize and take some of these excavators and drop them in the Odogono and deseal that whole gutter so that we can have free water flowing through that gutter and avoid these floods that we get every year? instead of burning the excavator? So if you can help us answer that, and then there's the second question I'll read to you once you answer that. So what do you think about this burning of excavators?
I think Ghanaians, we are to be able to bring sanity, even though I don't support it. But when we talk about the destruction in the forest is a national security issue,
right? And
then the country has to stand up. They are in war. The environment they are at war. So but I think, like you said, they could take it away, start prosecuting people for 20 years, 30 years. It will be a change. But without also putting structure in place to make sure that people are doing safe mining, you're gonna have problems. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win situation, my brother. Like I was telling you, all the country, every constituency should have a different police uniform, and then you gotta. I mean, look,
so if you're decentralizing the police like we do in the United States, where police is decentralized and is actually constituted at the county level, which is the city level. So the city governments would be who runs the police, and they raise their own funds. You know, national government has nothing to do with the police, right?
Yes.
And the police surviving the charges, they kind of would, charge people, and people go to court and pay those charges. And that is how the police survive. And the county is able to raise funds through other ways to support the police. So that's what you're advocating for in Ghana.
Yes, true. Yes.
But for that to happen, we need to have either elected our district, chief executives or district or municipal chief executives for the concept you are saying to happen. But currently they are appointed. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. The commanders will also go like the sheriff. They're going to go through elections.
Okay.
And the regional minister will go through election. Okay.
But for this to happen, it will require a constitution amendment of the constitution. What did you think?
Do that. We will do all that. We will do that. We will put that in place. We'll let it happen.
Okay. All right. The next question I have for you here is, it says, and this is going to be the last question, and then you can give us your last words after that. But it says, Mr. Atubiga, if you were the president of Ghana at this current state of the country, would you have considered resignation as the best option? So if you were now, though, and all the troubles we kind of face right now, would you consider resignation, or would you just, stay the course?
You and I know that that would never look. We could lie.
Could lie
anyway. That could never happen in Africa.
Never.
Look, even if you want to resign, your party will tell you that you gotta stay there in the interest of the party and work for them. You could just shut up and stay there, let your running mate do the work. Okay. So I mean, it's something that will never happen in Africa. It's not gonna happen. But people should know that both numbers are registered for Momo. Like the MTN, it's a registered mobile money, which is Stephen Atubiga, and so as the 020. They are all registered. It's a Momo.
Okay, I'm going to actually
Vodafone mobile money, and the other one is an MTN mobile money.
Okay, so what you're saying is the two numbers that you've given to our viewers, which is the 6594920. It's a Momo number that if they want to help your party,
for us to buy fuel, for us to buy logistics, for us to be able to, as we're going around, as the team, the national executives are going, they could pay for their fuel, their hotel bills, but all the burden, even though I have financiers and what have you. But 90% of the burden of setting up the party is on me.
Okay.
90% of it is from me, my own pocket. Okay. Right. In 3 months, we'll have all our documents, everything ready, and then the infrastructure, everything will be ready. So nothing is little, nothing is too small. Somebody may have an older vehicle sitting somewhere. We don't mind fixing it and refurbishing it. Somebody is going to give us money. Somebody say, I'm going to give you the office. I have some office equipment like a printer. I have a computer. I have this, I brought a vehicle. I cannot pay the duty. You go clear. I mean, anything. I'm dealing with 275 constituencies.
Right.
Okay. and then you're dealing with a whole. You gotta finish there. You gotta have logistics, but it's a challenge that I believe in 3 months I'm gonna have it done.
Right. Well, if I think about the NDC USA here, of course, would be interested in you finding a common ground with the National Party at some point and be able to bring these two noble organizations together to continue to fight the good fights and represent the former President Rawlings's ideas in a coherent way versus, dealing with it on your own and destroying what he has started. Even though you say that when he was alive, even he agreed that, you should go ahead and form a party and, of course, let your views be known. But, of course, I believe that's what NDC folks in the US here will want. But again, people are getting exhausted. People are getting tired with the two parties, both NDC and NPP. And like I said, this is the moment where people are asking for the country to be facing various ways, and your party couldn't come at a good time. So if you are able to do that in 3 months and actually bring people together and form the constituency level organizations that you need to actually run a formidable campaign and win an election, that people will gravitate towards you still. I'm going to wish you luck, and I know with the zeal, I can feel it, the passion that you expressed here today, that you're actually going to do what you say you are going to do. What will be your last word for my listeners and viewers? I know we've taken a lot of your time, and we can be more grateful for you coming to help us navigate all these issues that we discussed today. But what will be your last word for my viewers and listeners before we bring this program to an end?
My final words are: don't judge a book by its color. Okay. I have what it takes to lead this country. Mm-hmm. I'll be one of the best commander-in-chief that Ghana has ever had. I'll create an environment that when you're living outside the country, okay, you have hope of coming back home. I will rather reduce the duties of the vehicles and have more vehicles coming in that make it higher, and so that I'll earn the same amount of money that making it higher, and people can only.
You've just made a day for all bogus so far, because when we bring vehicles to Ghana, it's atrocious how much we have to pay.
It doesn't make sense for somebody to buy. It doesn't make sense for somebody. It doesn't make sense for somebody to buy a Corolla. Then you come to pay $10,000 in Ghana here. It's crazy. It's outrageous. The car is a basic necessity, and even if it's a business, it's duty free. Okay, and the idea of if I come and if you cannot pay for your car, and you could justify in honesty, financial crisis, okay, I have to work with you and give you a payment arrangements. Okay, and then you keep the documents of the vehicle.
Yeah, I think our guest is frozen there. But he said something very interesting. He's saying that, under his leadership, that if you bring a vehicle to Ghana, which is something we've all done before, we all do, especially those of us living in the United States here, and you're buying a vehicle for $4,000, you go to Ghana and pay $10,000 in duties just to clear the vehicle, and it kind of makes it hard. There are so many instances where people took vehicles to Ghana and they couldn't clear them because the price for doing so was prohibitive. So he's saying that he'll work with you. He'll work with you to kind of have a payment arrangement if that is what it would take. But essentially that he's going to reduce the amount that you have to pay when you get to the ports. And I think that is something that is making our day, especially we who live in the United States, who are always the ones to be victim of higher duty or taxes at the ports when we send our vehicles back home. So that right there, and also somebody will argue that of course there's a domestic market we are trying to sustain, but of course not everybody can buy a brand new vehicle coming from the production lines of what is the name? Is it Kasaka? Yeah, the Osofo's car company. It's not everybody who can acquire that. It's not everybody who can buy the the VWs that have been assembled in the country, brand new from the production line. So, when we get these used ones that meet the requirement, because we know that it has to be at least 10 years younger. The vehicle can be more than 10 years before you bring it to Ghana. So if we bring anything used to Ghana, it's not past the 10 years threshold. That, the price is not prohibitive, that we don't lose our vehicles at the port. So that right there, if you were getting, people in the United States, if raw power was going to work, you had people in the United States also voting in Ghana's election, you would get a lot of votes just by that singular proposal. It's been great talking to our guest, Osa Atubiga. I think, he may be coming back to finish his last words. But otherwise, this has been a great program. Ibrahim is asking again whether Mr. Atubiga accepts there should be an amendment to the Constitution. I think, yes, he says that, some of the proposals he has, like, for instance, the police should be actually constituted at the city level or at the constituency level or at the district level. We required a constitutional amendment. So I would suspect that, yes, he would be in favor of amending the 1992 Constitution. The 1992 Constitution definitely needs an amendment. There have been so many committees formed to study it and to come up with proposals for amending it. And I think there is some work I've heard, lectures from Kofi Abochi of the UPSA Law School and other prominent and very important lawyers in our country made the same arguments that, of course, that our Constitution, the 1992 one, has lived its time and it should be updated to reflect the times that we live in currently. There are so many provisions in there. Just on the surface of it, too, there are so many mistakes in the document itself that perhaps an amendment would have or would take care of. So yes, it should be done, and I believe my brother Atubiga, when given a chance, would do that for the country. I am grateful for having such a great person join the show today. This is an individual who wouldn't be quiet or intimidated or be shut down. He represents the discerning voices that we need, to kind of move the country forward. Even in his own party, he was able to point out some of the things that are wrong with the party. I just hope that he did it within the confines of the party's constitution, which perhaps then wasn't the case, and as a result, that he has to now form his own party. But we wish him well. And it is our wish that between him and the NDC that they are able to find a common ground at some point and be able to leave the ideals and the principles of probity, accountability, and social justice, which is the bedrock on which this our democracy was actually formed, and which is the counterpower, or provide a counter or alternative power to what we currently have, which is the property owning UP and Dankwa, tradition, which is currently ruling the country, and we all see or are witnesses to how that is panning out. So, without much ado, I would like to, on behalf of myself and all my viewers, say a big thank you to Mr. Stephen Atubiga for joining the show and sharing his thoughts and plans for his party, the National Liberation Congress, with us, and we hope that he will join us in the future should he be given all the approval from the EC, and should he need to come back to us and tell us more about who would be part of his team, etc., and how things are going with his party. We would like to have him here on the Ghana Agenda, where we talk nothing but strictly what moves Ghana forward. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu, and today has been a great show, and I'm sure you would all agree. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, the Voter Association, not a Voter Association, matter of fact, Sienna has a health program today, which is starting at 5:45. If you are available to join, please join the show. We'll be talking about all things coronavirus and how to survive it. And of course, there will be Toli session after that, which is very entertaining, and that will be coming up 2 or so hours from now. And I'm also sure some of you are watching the Chelsea and City game. I'm about to, switch to that very quickly myself to see who's winning. But I hope your team wins and that you use that opportunity to enjoy this Memorial Day holiday weekend. That is all for the show today. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend and stay safe. We will see you next week.
Presents a virtual Siana Health Forum on the topic Surviving the COVID-19 Vaccine. This will be held on the 29th of May 2021 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Venue is virtual. On the panel are Prince Hodogbe, Dr. Prisla Seshi, Prosper Seshi, Grace Agbo, Alice Nyamadi Anan, Empress Yasmin Ahiambla Doche, Ninette Ajimahe, and Ruben Hajide. Your hosts are the prominent Steve Day and Alfred Amuzu. The Zoom link ID is 757-434-4700 and the passcode is 4782. Siana, move forward with the socio-economic development.